So as you could probably see in my background, I have some very seductive artwork in this Airbnb I'm in. This is actually the Candy Towers in the Philippines, Angeles City, Philippines. There's a lot of units that look just like this, very luxury feel, very, very modern here in the Philippines, and it's definitely dope, right? So we were actually having this conversation yesterday is they have their business tight and they have their business in order. And that is how you should be when you guys want to make the decision to come overseas. What are you going to be doing for remote income? Now, as you guys know or may not know, I have my own tech business and I offer tech and web solutions for businesses, whether they're startups. I mainly work with startup companies, but people that's mainly looking to build a website, do marketing, do branding, learn AI. Not only do I help build the technology, but I also offer consulting. So people contact me, we consult over their business, how to improve their application, marketing campaigns, things like that. And I freelance. Now that is not as stable as having a set tech job, but freelancing gives me the freedom to work on my own schedule, work when I want, how I want, or outsource the work to somebody else and basically break bread with them. So let's first get into remote work. When it comes to remote work, you definitely want to make sure that whoever you're working for allows you to work in whatever country it is that you want to live in. Remote work is good because you have the stability of income. You know that you're going to be getting paid. You have the flexibility to work from home. So you pick a comfortable location. And typically you know the task and the set rate of pay you're going to be getting if your pay is set rate, right? If it's commission only, it's not as stable. But if you know that you have base pay, you can basically work around that schedule. Now, some of the downfalls of having a remote tech job is that usually you don't get to pick your own schedule. And sometimes, depending on where in the world you are, your work schedule will coincide with your nightlife schedule. So basically they will conflict with each other. So nights that you might want to go out, you actually have to be inside answering IT support desk tickets or just dealing with customer service or dealing with, building a pipeline issues or whatever your tech job is. That's usually how it is. So you guys want to be aware of that. Secondly, a lot of jobs don't want you to live in certain countries. So I see that a lot of remote workers actually get a VPN or they try to do something that pings their location to a certain place. But a lot of employers are figuring out ways to get around that. And you might want to be careful because you could be terminated for basically falsifying your location, right? So they might want you to stay in Los Angeles, and that's going to suck if you actually want to stay in Colombia or Thailand or the Philippines. So you also want to check where you're getting work at, because depending on where you're getting work and who your employer is, you might want to lock in the fact that you want to be staying in a certain place. The next thing is time zone, right? Which, goes back into time and conflicting with time. You want to make sure that wherever you are staying, it's easy for you to answer calls or set up meetings. I find that, even though I love Asia, one of the biggest problems that I personally have is that Asia, depending on the country, is usually 12 to 13 hours ahead of US time zone. So if I'm supposed to be setting up calls or staying in close communications with the client, typically I have to answer their calls late at night. And that could be when I'm getting ready to go to bed, it could be when I'm getting ready to go to the club somewhere. Usually those are the ideal time frames to be answering calls. So, you might want to be careful of that. Okay. Now, freelance work, what I do, right? Freelance work is definitely something that I consider to be one of the most flexible options when it comes to earning money remotely. You get to work on your own schedule. You get to pick the kind of work that you do and things like that. And basically you set timelines that's comfortable for you to basically live your life, get things done, and also get the job done as well. Now, some of the benefits of freelance work is that there is no cap to what it is that you can earn, right? So if you have a system in place in how you're going to be gaining your clients and gaining your clientele, then you know that you can make as little as you want or as much as you want, depending on how much effort you put in. And usually freelance companies and people that work for themselves that have a good system in place and are working hard and work in the tech field can see a minimum of $3,000 a month to more than $50,000 per month, depending on whatever it is. Some of those freelance things that you can do involve AI, automation, just regular AI setup, e-commerce, website development, app development, marketing campaign launching, and multiple more tech jobs that you can land. And if you guys are interested in being trained in learning some online skills and tools to be able to earn some extra remote income, or maybe even replace your entire job, you can visit the link below. You may see it here, and you'll also see it in the description. Book yourself a consultation, because my consultation prices do gradually increase. So lock it in now while you can. My recommendation, lock in a couple sessions where I can actually teach you and train you actual tech skills on a sales call. So definitely come on. It'll be good for you, and it'll be good to actually get started. Now, with that being said, you have the flexibility of income, flexibility of time. There are some downfalls to being a freelancer. Number one, when you are a freelance remote worker, you have to source all of your own clients. That means you have to source all of your own money, right? You need to actually look for the money and the sales that you are going to get. You really can't sleep, because if you don't lock in residual income contracts with your clients, typically what happens is that if you lose a contract, you could go broke very easily. And if you have grown accustomed to a lifestyle where you're jumping country to country, staying in the nicest places, checking out the nicest nightlife and things like that, your money can dry up pretty damn quickly. So you definitely want to make sure that you are constantly looking for clients and locking them into recurring payments, meaning that you basically are billing them every week or every 2 weeks or every month, and you have an automatic withdrawal, which I use Stripe. It's an automatic withdrawal. I know the money comes in unless they go out of their way to cancel the contract or end the contract or whatever the situation is. You guys want to make sure that your business is in order. So being able to do business and do business well is very important when it comes to being a freelancer. The second thing is, obviously, it's the consistency, right? You need to be consistent. You don't have the fixed base pay of a tech remote worker. So he might know he's definitively going to get paid $60,000 to $70,000 this year. That's not your situation. You can make $28,000 this year, depending on how hard it is that you work, right? And you also need to be very aware of your spending habits, because if you are spending above your means, you have to remember, if you can go anywhere in the world and work anytime you want, you have freedom. And I've said this for a long time. You have the freedom to build yourself up, or you have the freedom to tear yourself down. So you have to be extremely disciplined when it comes to being a freelance worker, because you're not on a fixed schedule. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have that consistency. And everything about being a freelance worker and things like that is all dependent on consistency. So you want to make sure that you have that in check. Now, let's talk about whether you want to do both options and which option I personally recommend. If you're not a hustler, if you're not a born hustler, if you're not somebody that already can lock down and make a couple dollars extra on top of what it is you're doing, your safest route is going to be to get a job. I would say get a remote job. There are tons of them. You could definitely tap into the Homies Network and see some of the jobs that are available. You can go on LinkedIn, you can go on Indeed, but I personally do not recommend these to find a remote job. I think you should contact companies directly and see what remote roles they have. There are a lot of remote roles. A lot of them are in IT, cloud, tech support. You really want to do your due diligence and get connected in a network. When you find a recruiter network or something like that in which they're actually looking to hire people for these jobs, I think you're more likely to land a job like that than just rawly applying and dropping your resume. People are getting thousands of resumes. AI is sending out a ton of resumes. You definitely want to get a personal touch with somebody. You want to get a warm touch with, whether it's an email message, a LinkedIn message, a phone call, even through social media, and see if you can basically get connected with somebody to land a role. And when it comes to freelancing, if that's something that you want to do, My personal recommendation, like I said, you can book a call or book a consultation where I can give you even more tips. But you definitely want to constantly be marketing yourself, just like I am now. You know, you want to be putting yourself out there, making videos, emailing people, introducing yourself to people. If you have a software or a service that you can offer people, you need to show people what that is, break down how it can help their business, and be optimal with pricing, definitely. And that's one of the ways that I would say that you can get yourself traveling the world and moving overseas, and just be extremely, extremely, extremely financially wise, right? Are you putting some money away for a rainy day? Are you making some small investments? I say if you're making, anything you're able to save per month, really just make sure that you're able to invest 15% of your savings, right? So your savings can usually be anywhere between 10 to 25% of what your income is. 15% of that should go into investments, whether they're crypto, stocks, things like that. That's how at least I do things. I set a certain amount of money aside to pay off debt. So I've been paying off credit cards, I'm paying off car notes while I'm living overseas. And I think this is one of the best ways to basically utilize my ability to travel. So that's some of the things that I wanted to share with you guys. And then I will then end with some closing thoughts. So my closing thoughts overall, just being a freelancer and working for myself, having my own tech business and trying to scale and grow, is I've definitely learned the importance of recording your lifestyle and just documenting everything, getting used to talking to a camera. That's really important for me personally, because I can continuously market myself, brand myself, and let people know what it is that I'm doing. But this lifestyle is one that's extremely freeing. I think, travelers are definitely almost like the new rock stars, because we get to do something that no one in the history of the world has done, and that's travel and traverse multiple countries, continents, cultures, people. And I think this is a great place to grow yourself, grow your brand, become a global kind of citizen, see how every country can basically benefit you and things like that. There are a ton of different things that could benefit you here. And in each country, I see that there's like different benefits and places to go and places to stay. And I can see like Colombia is really good if you want to do something dental, you want to do something aesthetically, right? Asia is really good if you want to get into products. You want to, build your own product, move your own product, cheap labor, English-speaking people. There's a lot of opportunities overseas. You just cannot limit yourself to one country, especially when you can move throughout multiple countries. And if you have the benefit of having a U.S. passport, a UK passport, Canadian passport, any passport from a first world country, you should know that, like there are things to really benefit from. There's benefits in Japan, there's benefits in the Philippines, there's benefits in Colombia, there's benefits in Peru, there's benefits all over the world. So definitely take advantage of that, travel and see the places that you like best, the cultures that you enjoy the most, the people. Even when it comes to dating, there's so many various options that you can take advantage of. So for sure, those are just some of my closing thoughts. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys hit the like button, subscribe, and if you would like to talk to me more, be sure to book a consultation. I would definitely like to talk to you about your travel plans and help you make a tight-knit plan to get you started, because nothing is more important than getting started.